Well, you have to. I think it's a great idea.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and Eddie, who's making sure everything works. Because if I move it down, it works better already. But based on last week, if we talk right into this end and not over like this, we were told that it works better for those who are sitting at home. So let's all try to follow that. I'll call this meeting to order, and first we have the invocation, and we have Charlotte.
O God, we begin each day with endless possibilities, knowing you will bless, protect, and guide us. We ask your guidance as we begin our meeting. Help us to grow and to nurture the bonds of community. As the evening comes and our day ends, we hope we have succeeded in being the best we can be in following your guidance. We ask your continued blessings on our community and all those who have worked to care for us and to keep us safe. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the September 22nd Residents Council meeting. First of all, I want to remind you of our amazing musical extravaganza scheduled for the finale of the 25th anniversary celebration. This two-day event will take place on Thursday and Friday. It will include dinner menus, delicious diversity in the dining room on both nights. You will need a reservation to attend, and so do that or call tomorrow if you hadn't thought about it already. Additionally, music is a focus of Friday's activities, with various performances around the campus in the afternoon and two groups performing in the evening. One of these will be in Friendship Hall from 5 to 6, and the second one will perform in the courtyard out here between 6 and 8. Also, just prior to those performances, at 5 p.m. in Fellowship Hall, a cocktail party will be held with various drinks and appetizers for all. What an evening we have planned. Please check the handout that has been placed in everyone's mailbox for precise timing and location of events for the Friday afternoon. Hopefully all of you got one of these in your mail. A huge thank you is appropriate for the committee of team members and residents, which has steered this celebration for the last 12 months. At our last meeting, members were invited to attend future Chat with Michael sessions held on most Wednesday afternoons at 3 p.m. here in Fellowship Hall. Like town hall meetings in the past, this is also an opportunity to ask questions about our community and relevant issues. Questions can still also come in by phone. Some of you have happily responded to the reopening of the Atrium Cafe. The startup hours are Monday through Friday and 3:30 to 7. And the initial menu includes several sandwiches, dinner selections with soups and salads and sides, as well as dessert. Tanika is an enthusiastic, energetic manager, and we are delighted that she is part of the Team Cedarfield. I encourage everyone to support this additional, now open, dining menu. We hope it will grow into a place to go throughout the day and evening. Several residents can hardly wait for the return of the breakfast menu. Several weeks ago, a communications document was posted on the corkboard just outside of the independent living mailroom. This is intended to be a listing of key items that progress is being addressed by various departments and will be updated as appropriate. Please be in touch if you have a question about any of these projects. Before moving to other reports this afternoon, I would like to briefly introduce two of the three key leaders in the planning of the employees' Christmas party this year. The heart of this event is our recognition of the exceptional employee service over the last year. But first, Robbie, if you could come forward.
I'm here to give a preview and a commercial for the team member Christmas holiday gift. 25 years back, when Cedar Field was first started, the residents got together and started this, what they called at that time, employee holiday Christmas gift. And to thank the team members for the impact that they had on each resident's life. And this tradition has continued for the last 25 years with enthusiastic support from the community. This is our opportunity to express our appreciation to our 300 plus team members. This year is special because we are celebrating the 25th anniversary. It's been a difficult year, as we all know, with constant changes, and most of our team members have stuck with us and stayed, and for that we're truly grateful. While this is strictly voluntary, 100% participation would show that we all care. And I can tell you that this gift does make a difference in each team member's life. The campaign will run from November 1st to December 3rd. I'll be sending a letter out end of October with details on how to give. It's also customary for the residents to have a party for the team members, and at that time they get the checks. This year it's going to be on December 9th, and so please mark your calendars. So Louisa is going to be organizing that, so she's going to talk about that.
Well, I am here to assure you that the party is in excellent hands. Mary Ann Ramage is coming back from retirement, having chaired it for two sessions, and she does a fabulous job. I am tag along. So between us, we've talked about how this party should be. With Michael's consultation, we're hoping it's going to be a return to parties of the past. What this room is just festooned with holiday decorations. There's a beautiful serpentine table with wonderful goodies on it for the employees to enjoy. And it's simply our way as residents of giving back to them, and that is the focus of the time. We have committees in place, things are coming along. We too will get a document out to you a little later, actually in October, later October, with particulars on it, and be sure to take a look at that. I'm sure you'll hear the buzz on it because this is just a big event. And we also have talked about Plan B if this nasty virus raises its head. We do have another plan. So something's going to happen. And with Mary Ann in charge, I cannot imagine it being less than our best. Thank you.
Is it an odd year or even year?
It's an odd year.
Odd.
We'll talk about that.
Thank you all very much. And now next on our agenda for today is comments from our Executive Director, Michael Shaw. Michael, please come.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Rucker mentioned the 25th anniversary action team that have been members of this team, both comprised of residents and team members. This little mighty action team has been meeting for over 14 months. I just want to briefly take the time to announce the people who are on this action team. Mr. Rucker is on the team. Mike Greenwood, Mrs. Jan Leeton, and Carol Marco from the residents' perspective. The team members, Fiona Ross, Connie McGowan, Steve up in the dining department, Chef Tyrone, Georgia Brown, Lori Andrews, Allison Zach, Stephanie Burkhume, Matt Dameron, Florence Brooks, Jack Johnson, Lori Ryu, Renee Langley, DJ Sharon Brown, Katrin Soltis, Eleanor Moore, and James Green. This team has been meeting almost weekly for the last 14 months, and they helped celebrate this 25th year anniversary, starting last September. We had a fall festival out in the courtyard. We had a pioneer breakfast for the residents and team members who have been here since the beginning. In November of last year, we had an artifact exhibit down in the Atrium Cafe, and all of those Thanksgiving trees were scattered throughout the community. Remember the Gatsby Gala at New Year's? We had a New Year, New You focus in January. We had a Valentine dinner in March. We had to postpone that one. We celebrated the launch of the Scholarship Fund. Not only the Scholarship Fund, but applications were accepted, and people have started to fund a new level of education. We celebrated Montessori programming. We gave birth to a new household building, a new concept to get away from the institutional long-term care concept. That grand opening happened a few months ago. We had a garden party around the cottages celebrating our 10th dimension of well-being. We had a June Jubilee here again in the courtyard, which was just great. In July, we celebrated the 4th of July, given our mission, vision, and values. And then tomorrow and Friday, we celebrate with a music festival. This mighty team has been unbelievable. And if you see any of those folks that I just named off, if you could just pat them on the back and just thank them for their volunteer, their gift of time and sacrifice, helping all of us put together a year-long's worth of events. It was an unbelievable festive year. I, from time to time, cannot get out of my head part of the artifact celebration when Fiona Ross and that team tied together the 4 freedom paintings and those freedoms that we celebrate even here at Cedarfield. The freedom of speech, the freedom of worship, the freedom of want, and the freedom of fear. That whole exhibit down in the Atrium Cafe really touched me, along with all these other events. But if you haven't heard about the 4 freedoms, I imagine most people have at this point. For millions of people throughout the world, the 4 freedoms have come to represent something that gives such meaning and importance to sacrifice, and certainly provides a vision for a more perfect world. All of us are permitted to hope for a better future, and in the midst of these unprecedented times right now, they really are very challenging. I hope as we as we slide into this 25th anniversary week, that all of the people of Cedarfield, the residents, the team members, the families that are listening to this video tonight, I hope that we continue to keep the fate of Cedarfield in our hands and our hands alone. My hope is that we continue to celebrate this week, remember the residents and the team members who have gone before us over these past 25 years that have helped create Cedarfield as we know it now, and that we maybe reflect on the relationships that we have with one another, residents and or team members, and that we hope that we can continue to attract a more diverse and inclusive group of residents and team members into the future. As I look at this next couple of days, I really hope that we can really continue to build upon the strength of Cedarfield, our reputation around hospitality, quality, partnership, and stewardship. And if we do that, we have a very bright future ahead of us, especially for this next 25 years. Moving into some operational updates. Our dashboard right now, our pandemic COVID-19 dashboard is green. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank the Lord. Our evolving preparedness plan has not changed as of this very second. We do have a meeting scheduled with some epidemiologists next Monday. So I hope to have a little bit of a report from those county epidemiologists in next week's weekly chat. And I hope to have a little bit more of an update about the booster shot. Many of you have probably heard over the news that the FDA advisory panel has approved a booster shot for people 65 years of age and better. And that recommendation is now going through the FDA and then will go to the CDC. It is highly likely that that will get approved. And so our pharmacy downstairs, Remedy, is ramping up a contract right now with Walgreens so that we can host clinics like we did in the very beginning of the year right here at Cedarfield. It's a very promising approach. And so as you're thinking about whether or not you want or you believe you need a booster shot, I would just pause a little bit, wait for some news to come more out from Cedarfield. There's really no need to rush to, unless you want to go to other providers, the CVS and Walgreens of the world. But at this point, it's highly probable that we'll have a clinic here at Cedarfield. Our vaccination rate is 100%. Can I get an amen? So we crossed that threshold on September 13th. We only, as I reported last week, we only had 11 team members leave us for a variety of reasons over that vaccine. So we've joined many other organizations and government entities in mandating this vaccine, which is just great news. Matt Dameron could not be with us today, but he did want to give a couple of reports from Health Services side. Over the last week and a half, we have undertaken a mock survey in assisted living. We have a consultant group, Mary Childs, that comes in and performs an independent look at our assisted living area and our memory support area. We are awaiting a formal visit from the Department of Social Services in the next couple of weeks. Mary Childs gave us a thumbs up through that mock survey, got a couple things to iron out, but we are well positioned for our friends of the Department of Social Services to visit. We've heard a lot of comment about Medicare certification. Why are we going through Medicare certification now, 25 years later, Michael? Or Matthew? And so in these weekly chats, we touch on that topic briefly. What Matt and I are going to do is we're going to host some mini town hall meetings or live chats outside of the Wednesday ones to go a little bit more in depth about why we're creating a Medicare neighborhood on the 4th floor in health services. So stay tuned for more information about that. We'll have more of an exchange of question answers about Medicare, Part A, Part B, what does Part A cover, what are the expenses, how does it benefit the residents. So our intention is to communicate and educate a little bit more about that topic going through the next several months. Mr. Eldon and Mike Greenwood asked Matt and I to consider. We did consider, and we are moving forward with something called a rebranding action team. What we've heard, I believe we have a very good culture change movement happening in our health services area, assisted living, and our long-term care setting. What happens from time to time, not everyone gives that space a report card of an A+, and so people go back from time to time over the years back to independent living and tell people about their experience in health services. And sometimes stories unravel and they might get a little bit bigger than they really are. Or some people have great experiences and people don't really even know about those great experiences. So we're creating a rebranding action team, and we're going to tell the story of our long-term care area and assisted living. And the purpose of this rebranding action team is to help everybody appreciate and feel confident in this neighborhood, these neighborhoods, and this level of care that we have here at Cedarfield. It should be the strength. You all should think it's the strength. I believe it's one of our strengths. Everyone should feel confident about those levels of care. And so over the next several months, we're going to embark on an education plan, a communication plan, and a transparent plan about what's happening. We're going to introduce a post-stay survey to every resident in independent living so that they can quantify their stay. And we're going to start sharing those results with people. So hopefully the quantitative and the qualitative education moving forward, we can all feel really good and appreciate those levels of care. Recruitment is going well in health services. As best as it can be in a, what I call, and many call, as a workforce pandemic. There is also a new term, in case you haven't heard this, called ghosting, coasting. What is ghosting, coasting, Eldon Rucker? We were talking about it yesterday. Ghosting, coasting are people who can be employed in the United States, but folks that are receiving subsidies and are relying on those subsidies to coast. They may ghost once in a while, meaning they might send in an application here or two, but you see the application and you never hear from them again. The ghost part. It is a workforce pandemic. For those of you that are questioning whether or not we are even in a workforce pandemic, some of the latest news, there's I believe someone said 72 ships, cargo ships, out in the Pacific Ocean, wanting and ready to dock out in California, but those ships cannot dock because there's no drivers to go to the docks to pick up those goods and materials to therefore ship around the United States, as one tiny example of a workforce pandemic that's happening right before our eyes. Matt and I were reading an article the other day, and this article goes on to talk about this one particular employer, and we really felt like it was Cedarfield written, where this particular employer received 52 applications for a position, And by the time that the applications were reviewed and they were looking at qualified applications, of those 52, qualified candidates for this one position shrank to 20. Of the 20 people that were qualified for a position, phone calls were made out to interview. Only 10 of those positions responded to a first call. Of the 10 that actually responded and were invited to come in for an interview, only 5 of them showed up for the interview. 3 of them were selected to move on to the second phase, but only 2 of them decided to move forward. Of the 2 that moved forward, 1 of them couldn't pass the drug test and the criminal background check, which left this one employer from 52 applications coming in, really only to be able to pick 1 person for that job. It's not an uncommon occurrence. In fact, it happens to us every day at Cedarfield. And so we really appreciate everyone's patience and cooperation as we go through this workforce pandemic, which probably will be with us through January of next year, is my estimation. Just a couple other things real brief. Master plan expansion. We have intentions to open up the 4th floor in health services in a couple of weeks, so we're very excited about that. And then the residents who live in Morning Glory on the 4th floor of household will go back down to the 2nd floor towards the end of January, the beginning of February. We're very excited about that transition. And then we will move Lavender Lane residents from the 4th floor in healthcare to the 5th floor in household here in October. If anyone has any other questions about our master plan expansion, please feel free to call the administration suite. I probably next week at the live chat will have a time frame on the renovation of the lobby, the chapel, the library, the Interfaith Center, the wellness clinic, and the dentist office, which is our next main renovation to go through. For those of you that are interested in our financials, June and July, we have closed those books. We're about to close August. June and July was 2 strong months for Cedarfield. Compared to budget, we were 100% at budget with revenue, and our expenses came just slightly under budgeted expenses for those 2 months. So financials are looking good. Don't forget the retirement party next Wednesday here from 2 to 4 in the fellowship hall for Beth, Margot, Trudy, and Maddie. If you see Beth Premack around the community, congratulate her. 2 days ago, she celebrated her 25th work anniversary at Cedarfield. She's probably helped 3/4 of the people who are actually even sitting in this room. A couple other follow-up things. The pool repair, warranty repair is on schedule for October 13th to reopen. We have not lost sight of the cellular phone issue at Cedarfield. We've made contact with T-Mobile, and Verizon is coming in next week to explore options. Comcast is still problematic, especially people who are toggling between 971 and a regular channel. So we do have Comcast coming back out here tomorrow. The Signage Package. Just want to assure residents that we are working with a company called SMI, and there are a few residents on that action team to review the family of signs, internal and external, to help us move forward. The flu vaccine. Our pharmacy downstairs, Remedy, does have enough flu vaccine to have clinics here. Before I came into the room here a couple moments ago, I was talking with the lead pharmacist within Remedy, and we're trying to have 3 or 4 clinics here in October to administer the flu shot, separate from the booster COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine. So we're probably going to have many clinics here in the next 2 months. Clinics devoted to the flu vaccine and clinics devoted to the COVID Pfizer vaccine. We are in contact with the Board of Elections in Henrico County to understand their protocols around voting and keeping people safe so that we can continue to use the fellowship hall here for that purpose. So stay tuned for that. Florence is working with them and trying to retrieve what those protocols are. Don't forget the Alzheimer's Walk on November 6th. It's been a legacy partnership that we have, Cedarfield has with Alzheimer's November 5th. So more details about that walk coming here in the next couple of days. Those of you that are in D-Wing, can you please stop the rumor that Michael's not really putting an emergency generator in our wing? We have committed to doing that. It is a process. It takes a lot of analysis with the engineers, and so we are committed to putting that piece of equipment or the capability in D-Wing. We're trying to analyze whether or not our existing generator can handle that load, as they say. So bear with me. It is a process. When we said we were going to do it, we told everybody it's probably a 9-month project, and it's shaping out to be that extent of a timeline. So I think that's it, sir. Do you have any questions, Mr. Rucker?
No, I think it was very thorough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know this is a universal problem with the garbage and
Recycled.
Recycling.
Mm-hmm.
so should we just not bother to put it out?
So the question here in the fellowship hall has to do with recycling. And since it's such a huge problem, should we not even put it out? My answer to that is, let's get a little bit more information from the company that we use to see what the extent of their driver shortage is, because that's really the issue. The drivers available. My trash in front of my house was late 11 days as well. I mean, it's universal around the county. So Sharon Brown's working hard with that company to understand what their shortage is, and so we'll get more information out as soon as it becomes available. So,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sally Wood, I'm in the C wing, and out of our meeting recently came a concern about the leaking from the ceiling between the atrium and the breezeway, and 2 questions that came up was the concern about structural damage, and also the fact that water accumulates in the trash cans that are known as the Cedarfield water gauge, rain gauge, and it's left there for a long, protracted period of time, and we're concerned with stagnant water. But mostly we're concerned with structural damage, and we hear, well, it's a warranty issue, but that does not tell you how it's being fixed and when it will be fixed.
So the question here has to do with the water leak that exists between the main building and the art gallery underground that we built. We have worked with a civil engineer. That civil engineer has developed a plan to remediate the issue and fix the issue. At this point, it's going to take time for them to kind of peel back the envelope to see if there's any damage, but they don't believe there's any structural damage, that it's unsafe. We are working with a general contractor right now to take the plans that the civil engineer drafted 2 weeks ago and hope to make that fix here in the next month or so. So, any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Michael. We're moving on to committee reports. First one is communications. Ro?
The Communications Committee met September 13th, which is sort of important because many of the things that we talked about in the Communications Committee meeting have been talked about today by Michael. So there is at least agreement on the issues. The recycling I would expand to include the main building. There is uncertainty about how to dispose of recyclables between the once every 2 week pickup. The recycle bin and the trash rooms are marked newspaper only. There's also uncertainty about what is recyclable. A proactive communication explaining what is available to residents and what is expected of residents could clear up the confusion. We talked about the signage, and we are certainly very pleased that we have professionals coming in to do that, help us do that. The recruitment, we talked about. The TV and the phone problems, still, we talked about and asked for some action, which we're getting. The pictorial directory, Florence Brooks asked that the Communications Committee critique the current pictorial directory, which we would be glad to do. We talked about redecorating. The local dialing, we feel that residents need information about the sources and need for the currently advertised change from dialing 7 digits to 10 digits for local phone calls. Healthcare, we recommended a meeting to enlighten us on what's going on in healthcare, and we have some specific questions which will be in your written minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ro. Jean Bodie, dining services. Would it be easier for me to come to your visit?
Yeah.
This isn't too heavy, it's okay.
The dining committee met September 9th of this month. The meeting was called by David Stewart to roll out plans for the opening of the atrium. Tamika, the new lead wait staff for the atrium, was introduced. Additional staff will be hired. At this point, there's only 2 people working in the atrium. At that time, hours will be extended and it will be open 7 days a week. Questions came from the committee and were addressed. All of these questions were then followed up in the communication that was sent to all residents before the opening of the atrium. To date, the numbers served in the atrium have continued to increase. We want to encourage people to use the atrium. I talked to one woman who was not aware that you can do takeout from the atrium. So you can do takeout. Now this is atrium food, now not the menu from upstairs. But if you live close to the atrium, it seems to me it would be much easier to get your takeout from the atrium. You can also eat in the atrium. And the numbers have continued to increase, which makes the dining staff very happy. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be moving back and forth here. Sorry to create a problem. The next issue is from Environmental Services. The chairman, Vernon Whitaker, couldn't make it, but did provide a couple of sentences to ask it be read, and it will be in the minutes. The lane entrance to the nature trail has been moved approximately 60 feet north. This has been a joint effort of the Environmental Committee with the help of Beth Burrell and Scott McDonald. and has been years in the making. The move will eliminate the mud problem at the old entrance and relocates the crossing of the lawn for a larger grassy area. As we keep moving facilities, there is no report. Finance, glad to have Carol with us, but there's no report. Flower committee, there's no report. I believe gardening, I don't think there's a report. Health services, no report. Library, we're up to library, and Dolly, we're glad to have you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. The Library Committee met on September 15th in the Chatterbox. 18 members were present. The finance report was given. The new guidelines for expenditures from the library funds account were read. It was the opinion of the members that the chair should be informed of a library friend's donor's name, unless they want to be anonymous, so the donor can be thanked by the committee. The chair will discuss this with Allison Zach. Just as an explanation, we are not informed on when or who gives the donation to the library fund. It's kind of a privacy issue, so hopefully Allison and I can work it out that if the donor doesn't want to be anonymous, that we can thank them. I know she does, but we would like to thank them from the committee. The committee was very pleased to learn that the library will be cleaned, painted, and receive new window treatments, carpeting, and furnishings. Date to be determined. Chair thanked Sally Wood for her extensive research to determine the correct height of the chairs to be placed at the library table. We also thank Florence Brooks and Allison Zach for their support and guidance. Members discussed how to organize the books in the library to make room for new books. Recognizing that it's very possible the library will not be receiving repurposed shelves from the 4th floor, library members discussed purchasing shelves. Several examples of available freestanding shelves to be purchased were distributed. The discussion of need for new shelves was tabled and will be evaluated at the next meeting. The new large print books will be located in the shelves in the back with the other large print books. As a way of explanation, we were putting the new large print books with the other large print books, but people weren't finding them. So we decided to put them back on the shelves with the other large print books, so residents can find them there. Becky Maxwell reported puzzles are being moved in the closet without her knowledge or permission. She requests whoever is doing that to please stop. The chair also pointed out that only committee members are allowed to access the closet. Now I will put my policeman's hat on. Book donations to the library are appreciated. However, the committee requests that books be published within the last 10 years and are clean and in good shape. In other words, books that a donor would be proud to give to their next door neighbor, not books that have been taken out of the attic and just taken to the library without checking to see if they were stained, dusty, or etc. Newspapers are for everyone to enjoy. Please do not remove the paper or any other part of it. In addition, please leave the papers in order so the next president the next resident, it's easier for them to read. Books placed on the giveaway table are not to be returned. The meeting was concluded with a presentation of an Energizer Bunny to Barbara Fiske for her constant assistance with any additional or special needs of the library quickly, efficiently, and with boundless energy. She just keeps going and going and going. The next meeting is November 17th at 4 p.m. in the Prima Club Room. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Religious life, I think there's no report. Safety, no report. Welcoming, Nellie Keener has a report.
Five new residents have been welcomed to Cedarfield recently. James Faringholt moved to 10,031 Cedarfield Court. James moved to Cedarfield from the Richmond area. Sarah Forsyth moved into 10,006 Cedarfield Court. She moved to Cedarfield from Culver City, California. Carolyn Allen moved to apartment 109. Carolyn moved to Cedarfield from Jackson, Wyoming. Frank and Grace Miller moved to 2113 Cedarfield Lane. They moved to Cedarfield from Weems, Virginia. And the Welcome Committee has had one welcome session this month for incoming residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't think there's a wellness and leisure representative here. Is there anyone representing the back row? Excuse me.
I received a report from the Gardening Committee. I think this morning. Is anybody here from the Gardening Committee?
There wasn't when I went through. There wasn't anyone to present that. I know it's in minutes.
So maybe would you be willing to share that with us? Or I can be, it's whatever you say.
Okay. All right. We're moving on to the area representatives. Area 1, I don't think there's a report. Please let me know if I'm wrong. Area 2, we do always have a good comment from them. Andy.
Would you believe I only have one item from Area 2? It would be nice if Cedarfield would purchase a golf cart to transport cottage residents back and forth to the Wellness and Leisure Building. Those residents with physical problems have a long walk in order to get to the building. Thank you.
Thank you. Area 3, I haven't seen Sally Bingley. Area 4, no report. Area 5, no. Area 6, I think we have a new person there. Sally Wood is with us.
Yes, I am replacing Pat Alders, and I will be working with Joan Tipton together. And we had a meeting recently, and it was very well attended. And the next agendas are sort of fun things to plan a social party. But out of this particular meeting, which was only a week ago, came many problems and many complaints. It started with concerns over our trash area, the closet, and our porch. And after months of repeated requests to get the
porch and the trash area clean, we had no luck. So Pat Alders and Joan Tipton went to Sharon Brown, Director of Housekeeping, and went through everything required and wanted and had a successful meeting. And then Pat and Joan both reduced the understanding with Sharon in a letter of understanding, which has been supplied her. And out of that, also that meeting a week ago, there was a continuous concern with the atrium's use of the trash area, the trash closet. Now in the past, it was a tremendous problem because the abundance of trash from the atrium overloaded the trash area, causing debris, aromas. Also, they would bring bags across the carpet from the atrium to the trash, leaking all the way, and then it would leak in the trash room. So in anticipation that we might have a future problem when hopefully the atrium becomes more active, we wanted to address this, which Russell Johnson did with David Stewart, who's the Director of Dining Services. His recommendation about how to handle this didn't satisfy us, but we are going to work with him carefully in the future before it gets out of hand, like it had in the past. The primary concern was the fact that we have so many dropped calls. I will tell you, our newest resident that we just welcomed, Carolyn, for the better part of 2 weeks, has had the ability to make phone calls, and it's outrageous. In an effort to be proactive, Joan and I sent out a survey of our residents, which would detail how many calls are dropped, as many details as can be given reasonably. Some people say they might have to fill a book over 1 week's problem. And also to even identify what area of your apartment has to be avoided in order to have phone service, and to tell us anything else. So the surveys are coming back this weekend, and I will get it to Eldon to do something with, and I will package it in a way that is very useful, hopefully. I do have copies of the survey if you want to see it. We just felt it would be useful, and I understand that everyone has problems. Since I moved here 5 or 6 months ago, it was always, it's ground floor, first floor, but I don't think that's really true. Let's see. Then I mentioned our concern of the water leaking, between the atrium and the breezeway, and fear about stagnation of water in the cans that are left there to capture the rain water, and also our concern with structural damage. One of our people is an engineer, so that's where that came from. And then a major concern about speeding along the road in front of our building, which would mean all the way up and down A, B, C, D. And I don't think the stop signs are maybe addressing that concern, or people aren't paying attention. But it was recommended that we should have a speed bump. And so that was our very thorough meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I may disagree with the last one, but we won't talk about it. Okay. All right. Area 7, any comments? No comments? Area 8, no report. Area 9, I think we're allowed to say congratulations. I believe there's been a change. I think Mr. Myers, I think there's been a change in the representatives. Is there any report I'd like to have?
Report submitted.
So it's submitted, all right. Area 10, no report. Area 11, no report. Area 12, none. Area 13, none. Area 14, no. Area 15 is not with us today. Area 16, yes. Thank you. Okay.
was nice to be able to visit with everybody after our long COVID lockdown. Of course, we had to wear masks, but it was still nice. Several issues were discussed, resulting in these following questions. First, what is going to be done to meet the needs of residents who require supplemental oxygen and CPAP machines during a power outage? Secondly, when will maintenance be able to reset the concrete barriers in the front parking lot? People have noticed that some people are driving onto the sidewalks because the concrete barriers aren't up. When will the Comcast problem with channel 971 be resolved? This affects a lot of people in our area. I thought it was mainly on the first floor, but apparently a lot of people have had trouble switching between channel 971 and regular TV. And lastly, when will we get our new carpeting on the 4th floor? We ask that you please answer these questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Area 17? Area 18? No. Area 19? Emma Watts? Yeah, I think you had a report.
First thing is about the wood fence that's out between the tennis court and goes to the front entrance. That the boards are still broken, some are still missing, and we are wondering if there's any update of when this project may be completed. Secondly, Michael Shaw and Jack Johnson had a meeting with everyone on the D wing concerning warranty issues and listened to residents' various concerns. The contractor, which he has already mentioned, is evaluating the capacity of Cedar Field's existing emergency generator to see if D wing can be added to that. I believe he's going to have an update with the all D wing sometime in October. Our residents met for dinner in Cedarfield Dining Room on August the 28th. We hope to continue meeting at least once a month. Also, we will be gathering tomorrow for in the dining room for the Cedarfield's 25th anniversary dinner. We are all looking forward to the next 2 days to celebrate, have fun, and a good time.
Thank you very much. Area 20, nothing, Cynthia? Area 21, is Jan here? First, I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us today. Is there any old business we need to bring up? Any new business? I declare the meeting adjourned, and thank you very much.
Andy.